Good morning and happy Monday to you. Welcome into the Real Monica Adams Show. Thank you so much for being with us. It is the Innovare Health and Wellness Studios, and we were able to see Dr. Sarah and her husband Brandon and so many of our incredible sponsors that were at our event over the weekend. Did you get a chance to be there with us? I hope so. I did meet a lot of brand new followers, and family and friends were there. We've been talking about it for the last month, and if you missed it, it's okay. We're going to give you a recap today, and we have many big things coming up for you in 2024. So I hope you had a beautiful weekend. I'm still on such a major high from what we were able to accomplish. And we're going to be talking with Jessica Cooke from Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa, Yuppy Puppies Forever Rescue. And then we'll also have Dr. Charles Willey in from Innovare Health Advocates. Of course, it's Medical Monday, and Ask the Doctor. And today we're going to talk about open enrollment. We're going to take your questions as well. So be ready to fire those off for anything medical that's going on with you or a family member. You're a little concerned. You've got some questions. You're frustrated with your own doctor and you're thinking, I need to change to this guy. You really do, because he's amazing. So we'll talk all about Medicare, Medicaid, open enrollment. These are really pressing things that might be affecting you right now. So that's what's coming up on today's show. And I just really, if you haven't seen my social media posts and you don't know what we raised on Saturday night, just wait. That's coming up for you. I hope you had a beautiful weekend. By the way, we are going to be blessed 3 days in a row with incredible weather. In fact, possibly breaking records. So I think 82 is the record on like Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. But today we're going to be near the upper 70s. We're going to probably hit 80, maybe even more on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're talking having some sunshine, little clouds. And then on Thursday, some rain may be moving in, and it's going to get chillier, but we are in November after all. So you'll start seeing the weather get a little colder as we head into the weekend. So get ready for that. But yeah, get with some friends, get with some family members, coworkers. Eat lunch outside this week. Eat dinner outside for the next 3 days at least. It's going to be beautiful. So we're blessed with, again, we're just blessed every day, right? We have breath in our lungs, but we're really doubly blessed with the weather we're going to have. Now, where we're not blessed, the St. Louis City SC season's over. I was listening to KMOX while I was working yesterday. I had it up on my computer. I don't have the season pass from Apple, so I wasn't able to watch the game. Did you get a chance to watch it? Did you maybe travel to Kansas and go see it? I know it'd be a long drive back and a very somber drive back, but they'll bounce back. What an incredible season they had for an expansion team, but they lost, if you don't know, 2-1 to Sporting KC. You guys gave a valiant effort. What an incredible team, and thank you for this season. Again, don't limp home too bad because you gave us a lot, and boy, do we have a lot of fans here in St. Louis ready for season 2. So thank you again, but yes, we unfortunately did lose. It was the best of 3. They lost one here, and then they lost in Kansas. So Sporting KC, congratulations to you, and we wish you the best as you move forward. All right, everyone, we've got a big show, so I want to get to it this morning. Jessica Cooke, again, Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa, Yuppy Puppies Forever Rescue. Not only are we going to tell you about a monumental night, record-breaking night from Saturday night at Clayton Winehouse, and thank you again to Clayton Winehouse and to Trattoria Marsala, but we're also going to tell you some other breaking news that has happened from a past show that we did about a dog that I have just wrapped my arms around and the love that I have for this dog. We're going to be talking about him as well. And if you follow the show, then you probably know who I'm talking about. All of that's coming up in our first half hour as Jessica joins us in the blue chair when we return. Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online envitahealthandwellness.com. Welcome back. It is 7:05, and I hope you had a beautiful weekend. As I said, you're tuned into the Real Monica Adams Show, and I am so blessed. All of you have been following since we started this show, and many of you showed up big time. You came out to our event that happened on Saturday night at Clayton Winehouse. Thank you, by the way, to Chris and Sean and Tim, Adrian and Craig, that all made sure that it was a flawless, and I do mean a flawless night. You know, it's hard to try to reach perfection because we're imperfect human beings, but I'm going to tell you what, I give us a 99.9% because it was a beautiful event. So thank you to all of you at Clayton Winehouse, to Jamie, to Steve, to Christine Komarek from Trattoria Marsala. The food, I'm told, was amazing. I was so busy I never got a chance to eat, unfortunately, but I was told that it was mind-blowing food. And then to all of our sponsors, Innovare Health and Wellness, Kathy Kilo Peterson, Diamond Roofing, Mark Anthony's Gifts and Spa and Experiences, as well as Christopher's, and then Michael Clausen Realty. Because without you, we couldn't have put this amazing night on. And we did it all for this woman. Jessica Cooke joins us from Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa and Yuppy Puppies Forever Rescue. Hello, my friend.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You walked in, and I really, truly, I wanted to let you talk first, but you and I both said the same thing, and that was that you are what?
We are still reeling from this weekend. It was just amazing.
You know, Jessica and I met a handful of months ago, and we were talking about doing this great collaboration, and then it played out that we wanted to do philanthropic, a nonprofit aspect to our big event. And if you watch that show, I broke the news to her and said, we're going to give 100% of the proceeds from the live and the silent auction to what you do, Yuppy Puppies Forever Rescue. Now, did you have any idea, because I never did tip my hand, did you have any idea what you thought maybe I would raise that night?
No.
So we're not going to say what it was yet, because you may not have seen on social media. I'm going to tell you that in the beginning, you know, it was a dream over lunch to maybe do something. And I was like, well, maybe we'll get about 5 silent auction items. Yeah. And then maybe we'll have a few live. So I'm just going to tell you that in my head, I was hoping for about $5,000. Right?
Yeah.
That's just give you a little background on this. But if you weren't there, we're going to show you some pictures. We're going to show you the auction. We're going to give you kind of a rundown. That's Micah?
Yes, that's Micah.
Micah is a Pomeranian, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And how old is Micah?
Micah's 9 years old.
Micah was just adorable. First came in a little carrier. Yeah. So Micah was there, and then we also had Pepe. By the way, Pepe was very, very, very popular. There's you and I next to all of your wonderful things that you have with Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa. So again, if you weren't there, this is what you missed out on. It was an amazing evening. There's Pepe. And I know there were people that night, including Julie Fabian. I'm just going to call you out because you said you were interested, but so was Gabe and so was Kathy. I'd be shocked, Jessica, if you don't get some applications for those dogs. Both of them, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's what that was about, right?
They had a great time. We thought we would bring them. They were calm little guys, and they were little rock stars. They were partying and saying hello to everybody.
And they never fell asleep.
Yeah.
So again, we're just looking at some of the people that showed up. The silent auction table was right there to our right. But again, thank you to not just all of the people that volunteered and helped Jessica out, all the people with Clayton Winehouse, all the sponsors, but it's the people as well that showed up. So as you walked in, you got a glass to do the tastings. There was bourbon tastings. The guys, of course, were gathering downstairs watching the Mizzou game, wrapping that up, talking about that. And then you want to give shout out to your volunteers that helped out?
Yes, Megan and Lauren. They're both two of the directors at Yuppy Puppies Forever and spend their time trying to promote these dogs and find them happily ever afters just as much as we do, and the other volunteers. So they were happy to come out and bring their friends.
It was great. And again, so many people. In fact, not only did we surpass the amount of money we were wanting to raise, but we surpassed even the amount of people. I mean, again, originally it was, well, maybe we'll have 35, 40 people. Okay, maybe 50.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a goal of 60, 70.
Yeah.
We had over 75, I know for sure.
Yeah.
People showed up for you.
They did. That was amazing. And showed up for you. I mean, they really got the calling, and we were I was overwhelmed with emotion because it just was better than expected. And like you said, maybe, a couple $1,000s. I'm happy if we get bags of dog food and snacks and items. And so the monetary that really helps fund the mission, I mean, vet care is expensive and all the proceeds go to that. So it's amazing.
Well, and I'll get a little bit more in depth into that. If you're just tuned in, this is Jessica Cooke, Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa, located in Lake St. Louis area, as well as Dallas Cottleville, and then the Forever Rescue Point. You have 51 dogs that need to be adopted?
Yes.
So think about all of the money, just one dog, and the vet bills and the food and all the care that needs to be done. They have 51 of them, and that is why I wanted to do this. So if you were not there and you have not checked out our social media pages, which is possible because you may have been very busy this past weekend and you missed it, this is how it played out.
That goal was $15,000, which she was like, what? 15,000. We surpassed our goal. Not by 1,000, not by 1,500, not by 2,000, not by 2,500, but, drum roll please, at the end of it all, here's what we've raised. $18,000 for Yuppy Puppies Forever Rescue. All right, I'm going to turn the mic over to Jessica Cooke.
This is the most in one night that we have ever raised. It really takes a village. For those of you that don't know, most of the dogs that come into our rescue were so loved.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen,
I was trying to hush everybody at this point.
So our main focus for animals in our rescue are animals that were loved, but they're orphaned due to terminally ill or sick owners. So most of our dogs, it's just an honor to continue their mission or their journey and find them happily ever after because they were so loved. And it's such a close to my heart. To date, we have rescued and adopted over 1,700 dogs. And we're great at rescue and rehabilitation. You're horrible at asking for money. So thank you so much because all the proceeds goes to vet care. Each one of our dogs, on average, it costs about $500 for all of our dogs are spayed, neutered, heartworm tested, prevention, vaccines, chipped. He needed a dental. He needed some remedial. So the cost goes on, and our most expensive one to date was over $6,000. But that life to us mattered. When we take on a dog, whatever they need, that's what we do. And they never run out of time with us. So check us out, and we just thank you so much.
I don't know if you all heard it, but she said this is the most money that's ever been raised for them. And you just had a gala. Yeah. Wow, folks, that's what I'm talking about. $18,000 so they can continue to do the work that they do. And thank you, by the way, to your volunteers. Thank you, babies, for staying up. I know it's past your bedtime. But thank you for putting the smiles on because that's what raised the money. To each and every one of you, thank you. If you think we're slowing down, no time soon. We've just scratched the surface. Just wait for 2024. This is not the end of an evening with the real Monica Adams and all of you joining. Spread the word, take a flyer, tell people about the show, and let's just do it, folks. Let's do it. Please be safe tonight. Thank you all for coming.
Oh my God, there you go. All the people. And you were very much moved to emotion and tears.
Yes.
I caught that. There was a lot of videos that, again, Lori, thank you so much. And George, thank you for taking video and pictures that night. But you just couldn't hold back the tears.
I couldn't. So Mark Clayton Winehouse's My Places I've Ugly Cried for Dogs. I couldn't. I mean, it was a complete shock. I mean, this was such a fantastic, successful fundraiser that type of money really sets us up going into 2024, and just it's amazing.
You have tears in your eyes
I
again.
do when I think about it. It's because it's truly a passion of ours, and there's such a need, and so we're in it every day, being part of these dogs' journeys, and we can't do it alone. We need help, and so when somebody steps up and helps us, I mean, you're just full of gratitude. It's overwhelming.
$18,000, folks. And so the goal, by the way, was 15. When I started realizing the people that really showed up and gave the donations that they did, and I had someone that night who I had just emceed an event for her, and she's like, Monica, what you have is on the lines of gala type of items.
Yeah.
And I said, I know, if not even beyond that. Like, I've been to galas, and I think sometimes people just kind of put some stuff together
Right.
that was at their house. No, I mean, I want to thank Jerry and David Hoffman for that big package that they donated. My mother stepped up. Did you enjoy that?
Yes.
That was, by the way, in the works. So, yeah, my incredible family. I mean, the hours away from all of you, or the hours of you having to join me was a lot. To all of you that have ever put an event on, I now know what it takes. Michelle, thank you so much for really coming back from vacation and just being there for me. And then it's all about those friends who show up for you, right? That's the whole thing, is we really, truly know in life who really are our friends, because they show up for you. It's not just the fun times, it's the hard times, it's what can I do for you.
Right.
So thank you to all that showed up that night, because if you didn't come, we wouldn't have had an event. We wouldn't have been able to raise. They were the ones that were generous.
Yes, and we can't thank you enough.
Yes. So we're going to take a break, but we're going to talk about what are we going to be able to do with that money. $18,000. So I think this is what really puts it into perspective of what rescues go through. So you think, wow, $18,000, that's going to go a long way. Well, we'll see. What can $18,000 provide? And I really would love to team up with you and come and see the dogs, and then really kind of do a behind the scenes walkthrough of, here's where the money's going to go. This is what happens. This is what they do here. And I think that's the really important thing. But we're going to talk with Jessica about that. And we have an update on one of my favorites. Oh, it's good news. Good news galore. That's all coming up for you when we return. Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show since we launched back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Personal training, life coaching, and styling as well. Info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Welcome back. It is 7:17, and I'm Monica Adams. This is Jessica Cooke, and we're wrapping up Saturday night. And I'm looking at some of the comments from people that were there, and they just said, it was a wonderful evening. Julie Fabian is on, and she said, Peppy, I hope you get a chance to go in and see him. Gabe or Kathy, we saw the video of Kathy interacting. So I don't know, Kathy, I think Vinny needs a friend. It was a wonderful evening. Great work making money for Yuppy Puppy. And, good morning. It's been a while since I've been able to watch. Welcome back, Dana. Looks like a wonderful event. It really was. Us Monica followers are such dog people. I see that. Compassion. Wow, excellent. Everyone saying good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, here's the one that I hung on to. Gwen Gissing, or Gissing, I didn't get a chance to see how you pronounce her last name. Gwen Clifton Gissing, I believe. She and her husband came out, and she bought a ticket at the very last second. Some plans had canceled, and she was able to come. She said this was the best fundraiser that I have ever been to. Very dynamic. A lot of fun to watch the passion of the people there. I mean,
Nice.
wow, just wow, right?
Yeah.
Across the board. And I felt that. Did you feel that?
I felt that too. Everybody there we're happy. We're an open book. I love talking to everybody. I could talk about dogs all day long and the mission and what's involved. And everybody there just couldn't have been nicer and wanted to know how they could help further. So it was fantastic.
I love that. And so we know that a lot of people were, looking at Micah and looking at Peppy, but we're talking about 51 dogs, and we're talking about the expense that it takes that rescues go through. And this is where I wanted to go with this. So when I do fund to needs and things like that, we'll have different amounts up, and it's like, this amount will cover this. Mm-hmm. So realistically, $18,000, what will that allow you to do?
So we currently have about $4,000 in vet bills, so that is able to pay off. So it depends. On average, when a dog comes to us, it costs us about $500 to vet. So spay and neuter, spays cost more than neuters. Mm-hmm. All the vaccines, we microchip. We do microchip ourselves, but to purchase the box of microchips, heartworm test, and then prevention, and that's it. So then if we get an older dog who has skin infections, they need a dental, you name it, we do everything, or if they do need heartworm treatments. So on average about $500, but if we have our most expensive one to date had heartworms and some ear infections, and then spay and neuter, she cost us about $6,000.
Oh, wow.
And so when you get one potentially that knocks your budget out, you have to, take a pause. We can't take any more at that time until we get some more funds. So adoption fees never cover the cost for any rescue to what it costs them to take care of it. And then that's not even including, we go through 50-pound bags of food a day and snacks and all of that. So just the costs add up.
Mm-hmm. Well, and one of the things you had told me is these larger rescues that you see, they wouldn't be able to exist without the small rescue. Explain that.
Right. So when it's a government intake, they have a job to take dogs, do stray holds off the street. Hopefully they're reunited with owners. But if not, or they have an influx or a hoarding situation, so when they do become at capacity, they reach out to the smaller rescue groups and say, hey, we need you guys to pull some of ours to either, because they're going to have to make some tough decisions or they're at capacity, or they just don't have the treatment for some of the ones, like the one I know we featured on here before, the guy that was hit by a car, he needed vet assistance now, and a lot of the smaller rescue groups are the ones that step up and take the emergency cases so they can get treated right away.
The thing that I really loved, because, and that was the thing, the people who came Saturday night were from all walks of life. People that had never been to Clayton Winehouse, so one, I love to introduce them to those gentlemen, and then people who had not heard of your rescue or had not heard of Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa at all out in Lake St. Louis and Cottleville. And so there were people who I know that have purchased dogs before. They wanted a specific breed. They wanted the designer dogs. And one of the guys walked in and I said, I need you to right away talk to Jessica because yes, there are purebreds there. There are mixed breeds there. But a lot of times people think in their head, oh, I want this kind of a dog. I want a Frenchie. I want a golden doodle. And then you walk in and you fall in love with maybe a mixed breed.
Right.
You never really, I understand people are like, oh, look at that dog. It looks beautiful. I want that. And then they go and they're wanting to purchase. But I think that was an aha moment for a lot of them. Right,
because I think that gentleman had three golden doodles, and we get golden doodles of all ages. We have one that's 9 months old currently. We have one that's 7 months old. So because sometimes there's all dogs in rescue, maybe frustration set in or financial reasons, or our main focus is owners are terminally ill or deceased. So all the dogs, you name it, of all breeds and ages and sizes usually have ended up in rescue.
Well, and I keep an eye. I want you to follow their social media pages, by the way. So Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa, and again, Yuppy Puppies Forever Rescue. I saw a video that you had of John Wick. You want to say who John Wick is?
So John Wick, we named him that because he came in like a little assassin, and he most likely was bought. He was a puppy, and unintentionally, we're just guessing, they probably did all the things that when a puppy is cute and you're playing with them and they're growling and you're teaching them, you're reinforcing bad behaviors, but then they become full grown and it's not so cute anymore. And when the transporter brought him to us, he had a harness that hadn't been taken off in who knows how long. It was so tight. He came with a fly swatter because that's how they were apparently handling him, and so John Wick is now downgraded from an assassin to just a bodyguard.
He's a bodyguard, but he was barking at a dachshund statue. Yeah. It was hilarious.
Yeah. And so it took us. We don't place our dogs up for adoption right away because we knew we wouldn't do the potential adopter or him any justice without figuring him out, providing his needs. Let's provide him some training so we do know more about him. And now he can meet almost anybody now, and he's fine. He's still, we wouldn't place him with kids, and we're working on him with other dogs, but complete turnaround already. We're so happy with the amount of transition he's made already.
Well, that's a true testament to you and the guidance that you have and the skill that you have. You've been in this business, for people who haven't seen our shows together before, for how long?
So Yuppy Puppy's been in business 20 years, but before that I was vet tech and groomer, and so I've been doing this a long time.
She knows what she's doing, and she still likes to groom. She won't give that up. She loves to groom.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about French Bulldogs. I'm talking about Golden Doodles. You actually almost brought Shiba Inus the night of our event.
Yes.
But were they just, well, what happened?
So these guys, they're past breeding. We rescued them from a breeding situation, and we're able to get them spayed and neutered, so they don't have to do that anymore. And they were very calm, sweet, and their true personality now. We didn't want to have a giant wine bill at Clayton Winehouse, and so we decided, a different event for them is going to be needed.
It was so funny. She had sent me a picture, and she's like, these guys know they're coming. Look at the smiles on their faces. And then we came in with Peppy and Micah, and I was like, those aren't Shibas. And she's like, oh, no, they weren't ready. But Micah and Peppy, I have to say, normally, I've been at events where I've auctioned off a dog, and they fall asleep.
Yeah.
And they're trying to drag them up off the ground. No, look at those guys. They came in, and that's how they were. I did see Micah yawn at one point, but stayed awake for us. So again, it's all done for the dogs. And if you saw, I put a little text box on one of those pictures that said, we're giving a voice to the voiceless.
Yes.
Right? They're there. They can't say what's wrong. They're just truly incredible the way they try to communicate, though. And some of them are so intelligent that you swear. I saw a fun social media video where the lady was like, what does a cow sound like? Like you would do with a child. And the dog was like, moo. And I'm like, how is this? Gosh, they're smart. And seriously. And it changed its tone. And she said one more time, how does a cow sound? Moo. They're incredible. For anybody, if you're not a dog lover, I just don't get it, because they bring so much to us, that unconditional love, and they're just big goofballs. One of which, by the way, I walked in to Yuppy Puppy the very first time, and I was taken on a tour by Jessica, meeting all the different dogs you had there, and one of them jumped up and just said hello to me right away, if he could have said hello, and I fell in love with him. And I've been on a mission, as you know, ever since, to get him adopted out. His name is Cristiano. Yep. You're going to give us an update on that big goofball.
So he is on his third date. He finally has made it to a third date. And that is, so as we have talked about, he's a dog that it longs for a home. He loves everybody who meets. But that blows usually his meet and greet, because he comes in so high energy, and we're like, trust us, he's going to be asleep as soon as you leave. So we really encourage them to come several times. And so the third date, they actually are past Yuppy Puppy Forever Adopters, and so they know how our process works. And they have 3 other dogs, so he has met 3 of the 4 dogs. He's got 1 more to pass, and we're hoping, fingers crossed.
So he is, quote unquote, on a third date.
Yeah.
Make sure it goes well, Cristiano.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was about him, but he just had so much sweetness in him, and he has been there the longest. He's been there for a year plus?
He was a year in October, and then he was almost out of time. He was 3-4 months at another shelter before we pulled him. And he's just great. He's just unfortunately in a sea of so many dogs that he was just getting passed by, and that's been his story. Hopefully,
he's got a new story.
Yeah,
right?
he's gonna have a news story.
Oh, Cristiano, I cannot wait. You have to let us know so that I can break that news if this is a definite. So for anybody that's looking to adopt, I do want to say this before we wrap up, though. So we're coming into the holidays, Jessica, and a lot of people think about, oh, maybe I'll get a puppy, or maybe we'll get a dog for the kids, and they don't really research the breed, right? They just go in. You will not, and that's the thing that I love about you will not just have somebody come in and go, oh, I want this dog. Okay, sure, here you go, and you're out the door with it.
Right.
Because you need to make sure that they're, well, you can't, I guess you're not 100% ever going to make sure, but you don't want those dogs returned.
Right, exactly. And it's about, so our dogs, they won't run out of time with us, so there's no rush. Of course we want them in a home as quickly as possible, but the kids should be involved with meeting the dogs too, because we've seen so many times where parents are like, oh, our kids love dogs, and we see something a little different. Maybe the kids are a little timid, a little shy, and so we want them to come several times, and it should be a good fit. But we want the kids to say, remember when we rescued the best dog ever? So just finding that good fit for different ages. And the holiday time, it should not be a gift, because what happens with gifts, it's not new anymore, and you're looking at a 15-year commitment. And so we encourage families to maybe volunteer at shelters during these times, or to have the kids go shopping for a rescue dog and really start that process of it, but wait until after the holidays to bring in a dog.
It's a big point that I wanted to bring up because, again, I'm shocking because the weather's so beautiful. We're not actually thinking of the holidays, but we're just a few weeks from Thanksgiving, weeks away from Thanksgiving, Christmas, going into the new year. But yeah, just don't rush that, because this is a part of your family. And I don't want you to have the mindset of, oh, well, it's just a dog that can be returned. Well, she's not going to let you adopt that dog. That's the thing. That's the extra level, which is why I wanted to team up. Before we wrap up, let's look at some of these comments. Let's see. Rescue dogs have my heart. I have 2. They're the best. So thankful for all rescues. Rescue dogs are the best. I have 1. This dog is so appreciative with us. They just know. I do believe that.
Yeah.
Many dogs need homes. How did I meet Jessica? Through mutual friends that said, I think that you and Jessica can do big things together. I mean, that's all the comment was made. Always got chill. And I was like, okay. So I went out to the Cottleville location, walked through, decided to have her on the show, and then decided to say, let's give you some money to do this. She said, very expensive to run rescues. Mm-hmm. She knows. Mm-hmm. Have a fantastic day. The social media team that you have is awesome. I love following them. Oh, nice. Julie said that. Love the pups. So happy for Cristiano. What a sweet face. Yes, again, just gushing and gushing and gushing. So I want you, the biggest thing about this is, yes, we wanted to raise money so they could continue to do the work they do. 2, I wanted to introduce you to her and her staff. But now going forward, the most important thing is, when you want to adopt, I want you to think about them, because they have 51 dogs. I mean, ideally, we'd like to, they don't have to have rescue after rescue after rescue. We hope that these animals would be treated better. That's not the case, though, and that's why rescues exist. It would be great to never have that. I'd like to put that part of your business away, and then just focus on grooming them and making them beautiful. Any last words?
Just thank you so much, and yes, consider rescue and take your time, and just remember they're part of the family, not for a season, but for a lifetime. Lifetime,
and give them a forever home, because it can be scary for them when they are around all the dogs and the dogs are barking and they're speaking. Well, that's what they're doing. They're speaking and saying, can someone please adopt me? Please, we want to be with you. We want to snuggle with you. And it's so great to see when they transition. In the meantime, though, you couldn't give them a better temporary home.
Yeah, we try. I consider them all mine until they're adopted. So.
And then it's got to be hard to say. I mean, you're happy, obviously, that they get a home, but I'm sure the tears are like, oh, Cristiano's going to be hard because you've had him for a year.
Yeah, there won't be a dry eye that day that he goes home, but it'll be happy tears.
Yes. All right, Cristiano, we're rooting for you. Can't wait to give an update on that. Jessica, my friend, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We did a big check presentation, but I'm going to be writing that check to her, and I'm actually going to come out and deliver it to the team and see. I don't know if Cristiano will still be there, but I was going to give him a big hug and take you on a little social media walkthrough again and show you where your money's going to go. So that's going to happen for you this week. So keep an eye on both of our social media pages for that. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Continue to do the great work that you do. 7:32, we're going to take a break, and when we return, it is Monday after all, so Ask the Doctor Monday, Medical Monday. We're going to talk about open enrollment today. So if you have questions, you have any questions that have to do with that or any other medical questions, get ready for them. Dr. Charles Willey with Innovare Health Advocates in the blue chair when we return.
It's the icing on the cake.
The final brush stroke.
The finishing touches make all the difference in your home, too.
Have fun and get started at carolhouse.com/room planner.
With thousands of accessories in our 3.5-acre showrooms.
Get your picture-perfect room and the lowest prices in the country at Carol House.
Because you like nice things.
You know, of course, it's great to get outside and enjoy the warm weather, but when it's time to relax indoors, be sure your home stays cool with equipment and service from my friends at Aldon. 24-hour emergency service available. At Aldon, it's their commitment to continue providing above and beyond HVAC service for all of their customers. They truly care about the air you breathe. Call them today at 314-567-5585 or on the web, aldon.com. That's al-don.com, 314-567-5585.
And it is Medical Monday, time for Dr. Charles Willey and Innovare Health Advocates. So Ask the Doctor Mondays. If you have any questions that have to do with you, maybe your loved one, over the next half hour, please feel free to drop it in our comments, and I will pass it along to Dr. Willey. Good to see you again.
Good to be here.
Did you have a good weekend?
I did.
We had a fabulous one. Did you hear how much money we raised at our event?
I heard you say it while I was waiting.
$18,000. It was such a beautiful event. So again, thank you to everyone that showed up. We've got such an amazing following here. A lot of dog food and spaying and neutering and taking care of broken bones. A lot of work that has to be done with those animals in that medical realm. So one of the things you wanted to talk about today, open enrollment and how important that is.
Yep. So this is a time of year in Medicare that folks get to change their plan, and most, especially for Medicare Advantage plans, from it's a painfully short period of time, October 15th to December 7th. Open enrollment, people can switch, and I think it's come down now since the internet. But people used to get a stack of mail this tall, 3 feet tall, from all the health plans trying to get the folks to switch.
Ah.
Yeah.
Aha. They don't get that as much anymore because a lot of people don't do paper mails.
Still a lot of attention, but so one thing we do is send out what we call a defensive letter to our patients, because we find that sometimes the salespeople are not quite they're a little aggressive with the seniors, and sometimes they're a little uncertain or unfamiliar, and they might give a piece of information like a Social Security number.
Oh, yeah.
That gets them changed from an insurance plan when they didn't want to. So be careful.
Seniors, unfortunately, and we hear about this, they're preyed upon, right? And they don't know who to trust. They want to be able to trust.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Talk to your moms and dads or your grandparents. Make sure that they're not just giving, that's the worst thing, that they're not giving their Social Security number out. But they're confused. So what steps would you have them go through? What are the biggest tips we can give them?
Talk to friends and family. Perhaps meet the person in person. If you're going to make a change, do it from somebody you trust, or on a strong recommendation from somebody you trust, like yours truly. Because we have a lot of. It makes a big difference to us what plan people are in. Most health plans pay doctors and healthcare in a way that it doesn't align with the goals of long-term health. It pays for sick, it doesn't pay for well.
So if throughout the year they have just been very frustrated with the care that they've had, or normally it goes to us kids, right? So I'm always keeping an eye on, who's my mom going to? Who are the specialists? Who is her physician? Are you taking care of her? Do you have just a few minutes with them and then you rush them in and out of the office? Yeah. Those are all the things that shouldn't be happening, because they're in those aging years where they're going to be maybe going to the doctor more. You've always stressed on the show that it's your job to ensure that they're as healthy as possible so that maybe they don't have to be coming as much.
Yes, and it's time consuming. It takes a long time. You have to listen, interview well, and be available. And I always invite the daughters in. I've said it here before, I think. Thank God for daughters. Never day goes by. Sons too, if they're participating, but probably 75-80% of the time it's a daughter. But it is time consuming. They have multiple medical problems often at that point in life, and so a health plan that pays us in a way that we can slow down and get it right, is how I say it.
Right.
Is important.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking with Dr. Charles Willey, Innovare Health Advocates, and Medical Monday. Ask the Doctor segment. We've got Rose, who said, my husband's having an aching pain inside the ear, downward to the end of his jawline. Been to a specialist, but couldn't find anything, but he's still in a lot of pain. No one gave him a CAT scan. Would that show anything?
Perhaps. Behind the ear into the jaw. Okay, so there's trigeminal neuralgia comes to mind. That won't show up on a CAT scan. And temporomandibular joint syndrome, arthritis in the jaw joint, depending on what kind of specialist you saw, are two that TMJ, if it's bad enough, will show up on a CAT scan.
On a CAT scan. So that's something that could they ask for? Because normally that would have to be something that would coming from a doctor, right?
Yeah,
Can they call in and ask for that to be done?
A doctor needs to order it. It would be, a good question to ask the doctor you're seeing. And by, asking for a test is one way for a patient to express themselves about what's going on. And even though their experience might not be such to, know which precise test to order, but it's more information, puts us in the ballpark.
So we're talking about open enrollment time, and this is when you look back at the year or years and say, you know what, my care has not been good. Can I switch doctors? Well, in the aging years, this is the time period. You said October 15th to December 15th?
To December 7th.
7th,
And
okay.
that's for most plans. Now, so my heavy bias is a health plan called Essence, okay? And it's a 5-star plan. 5-star again for the third year in a row, 4 out of the last 5 years. And so people are allowed to enroll in it year-round. People can move into it year-round. But open enrollment, switch any plan till December 7th. Okay. Now, Essence is, I can't talk about this without talking about Essence. It's near and dear. So back in the 90s, let's see, I hung my shingle, opened the practice in 84. And by the early 90s, it was evident that something was wrong.
In what way?
The payment scheme was much in the disfavor of a doctor who would spend a lot of time with the patient.
Okay.
And didn't have gadgetry to sell. Didn't have a test or a procedure. And so built a medical group and to get a better contract from a health plan. And we had one from United, but then late in the 90s they wrecked it. So we put up our own. So the medical group was called Essa Health, and the health plan is called Essence. And I call myself the founding chief rabble-rouser.
Rabble-rouser,
Yeah.
he is. If you haven't picked up on his humor, he has that. You were with them for how long?
Well, Essa, from its founding in 96, or depending on how you count it, because it was a merger of a bunch of practices, until 2010.
Yeah.
And the health plan, we enrolled our first member in 04, and I was with it until 08.
And what is it? Because I know there's a lot of people that have switched and had Essence as their insurance, and then they've switched and had, they say, well, I want this as my insurance, and I actually want to switch and have Dr. Willey as my doctor. What is it about Essence that you love so much?
Well, so there was a moment in my life in 2004 to 2008 when I was the chief executive of the medical group and the health plan. I got to make the rules. Not just me, but a team. We got to make the rules on both sides of the fence. So we designed the benefit plan to be the richest in town for seniors.
Okay.
Part of the motivation was people were struggling to afford the care we recommend. Okay, so we made the richest benefit plan in town, and it still is 20 years running. Actuarially so. It's a little more difficult to see because there's a lot of bells and whistles and fancy benefits like dental now. But it's still actuarially, which means on average, it's the richest plan. So we also designed it to pay us in a way that we could get it, slow down and get it right. And so the short of that is it's as though I'm the insurance company and the doctor,
Right.
managing your health and the money that goes along with it. And who better to trust the money of that than the person you trust your health with? And here's the key, Monica. It's a long-term relationship. Most of my patients, when they come, they stay for years and years. Long-term relationship. And with Essence, it's a long-term contract. Another thing I did when I was on both sides is wrote a 10-year contract for the medical group with the health plan. And I'm in another 10-year contract now. Prior to then, they were all 1-year contracts. And there are people who are switching and haggling and arguing and then maybe it was 3, but I said, no, give me a 10-year contract so we can slow down and get it right. So a long-term relationship, a long-term contract, we have time to help people be healthy, save money, reinvest that into health and processes. So I employ a social worker. We have 5 offices. I have champion former ICU nurse practitioners. We make house calls. As AT&T, Verizon, never not available.
Look at this, boom.
Right.
I only got one. Wow, he's packing.
Yeah, always never not available. Always got to be available.
That's something he has said in the past, by the way. So people never take advantage of it, but he has given his cell phone number out because he wants to be readily available to you. You're associated with 11 different hospitals, doing this for 40 years. And I think the biggest thing you have to listen to what he's saying is that if you go to a doctor that rushes you in and out, and I've been there, I've been to doctors in the past, and you're like, I don't even feel heard. I don't feel like you care about what you just wanted to get money from me. You're in and out, and I didn't even get a chance to talk about what's really bothering me. Or I'm going to go see a nurse practitioner, or I'm going to see a nurse, or I can't get into you. Those are frustrations I know you probably hear regularly from where they've come from and why they're probably coming to you.
Absolutely. When people get to us, not to be too boastful, but they gush. Oh my gosh, there is a doctor that an organization that will treat you this way, and we do. Another key thing is relationship.
Yes.
I have to convince folks to often change a behavior. A lifetime habit. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it before. Something as simple as if you're overweight, eating carbohydrate. Mm-hmm. And boy, carbohydrate it's fun. It tastes good, and we're sort of physiologically and psychologically dependent. It's hard. So I need relationship to help motivate them.
And then that's what you form with them. There is a lady, Linda said, unfortunately, Essence is not available in my area. Do you have any other recommendations?
What's her area?
Well, okay, Linda, let us know. What is the area? We'll come back to you, so that's a follow-up. What area are you in? And he can help you with that. Dana says, I'm a licensed health insurance broker for Medicare and Marketplace Insurance. It's important to not miss the enrollment periods. Busy time of year in health insurance.
That's right. For all plans. Mm-hmm. Essence is 5-star, and you can move into it any time of year. But it's a good time of year to really consider it, study it, talk to your friends and family and your doctor. And the most important thing is to have a doctor who will slow down and listen to you and be available, make the diagnosis, implement the treatment. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And if that's not happening, this is why we're saying you are taking on new patients, because a lot of people have asked, is he? I know a couple people called, I think they've been into you. I can't remember their names. They were on last time, and they said that they were switching over to you because they said that see, now Rose just said, I love this guy. Because you don't usually, and so do I, by the way. That's why he's a part of this show. Because you are what I consider to be different. You're different than, I think, what a lot of people have experienced in the past. And it's reassuring.
Yeah, it's hopefully I'm starting a trend instead of ending a trend.
Oh, absolutely.
I think in the beginning of my career, doctors had more time or took more time. Things were different. But yeah, I am unusual.
Mm-hmm.
But
I like the fact that you hope that you're setting a trend.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, you're not going to, you say you have maybe another, 7?
Yeah.
7 years?
As long as I'm useful and having fun and can take a little more time off.
Yes, because your wife would want that. That's the whole balance aspect. But I do hope that you are setting a trend as well. Linda says St. Francis County.
St. Francis County. Essence is there. Is that St. Francis? Farmington is in St. Francis County. Mm-hmm. Essence is in St. Francis
Essence
County.
is?
Yeah.
So Linda, Dr. Willey says that Essence is in St. Francis County. You might want to look into that. Linda just said my mother had Essence and was extremely happy with it. Dana says the plans available are dependent on the zip code you live in, along with the prescriptions you take and the physicians you prefer.
That's correct.
So it's on, so maybe is it a specific zip code in St. Francis County that maybe not? It could be a cutoff point?
Am I having a brain freeze? Jefferson County, St. Francis.
So there's St. Genevieve, St. Francis, Franklin, to your knowledge?
Franklin's in now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I would look into that.
Yeah.
We're talking about open enrollment time. And so if you have been having this discussion, time is now and time is of the essence.
Yeah.
No pun intended there about Essence Healthcare. But time is of the essence because December 7th, again, is the open enrollment. Not necessarily Essence because you can move around. My mother I used to work with Dr. Willey, and we talked about Essence and how important how great they were and how they're there for you besides just the doctor being there for you. She switched. She is ridiculously happy with Essence.
Good.
Yes. So I know you love to hear that. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, more of your questions and more about open enrollment and what that means and any kind of guidance we can give you. I'm going to look at some of your questions. We've got a few others coming in. But if you have any right now, let us know. Just write into the comment section. And welcome to you, by the way. If you've been with our show, if you're brand new, welcome aboard. More with Dr. Charles Willey when we return.
Think about this. When's the last time you called your doctor at 2 o'clock in the morning and he actually answered? Well, at Innovare Health Advocates, their patients are special. Their doctors, nurse practitioners, their care team care deeply about your health, your family, your work, and even your pet. Their clinicians are accessible and they lead your care in and out of the hospital. In fact, Dr. Charles Willey offers his cell phone number to his patients to ensure they can intervene early in your illness. They can provide care above and beyond, offering lab, x-ray, echocardiogram, and other treatments in their office. Innovare Health Advocates with 5 locations on both sides of the river. Check them out, innovarehealth.com.
Welcome back. It is 7:50, and you're tuned into the Real Monica Adams Show, maybe on Facebook or all of you on YouTube. Welcome aboard. We had a great first half hour talking about the puppies and wrapping up our event, and now we're talking about your questions. Ask the doctor on Medical Mondays. We do it every Monday, so get armed with your questions. Or I've been asking, a lot of times in life you have to ask, and then, okay. So I've been telling you, if you can get the questions to me in advance, we can get them to the doctor so he's ready for them. We'll get to one of yours that you asked me about last week in just a second. So my husband says his doctor seems to always rush in and out. The nurse practitioner spends more time. Yes, and that is what we were saying before. That shouldn't be the case, but that is what a lot of people see. That's not who you are, though.
Well, if I have nurse practitioners in my organization, but the key is they're former ICU nurses. B, I train them for a full year, and C, support them closely. So we have a regular time together where we see difficult cases. And again, I'm always available, AT&T and Verizon, and we can pop a video anytime. But we'll schedule collaborative visits, okay? And folks can call me. We give our cell phone. So the nurse practitioner has to be well supported. Many of them, God love them, are not. They don't have enough time with the physicians. They're kind of relegated to, there's another species in healthcare these days called the scribe, and it's a bit of a secretary to type the electronic record for the clinician, and some of the nurse practitioners kind of get stuck in that. They're not well supported. They're not fully engaging. So nurse practitioner is a wonderful thing. But
I love the fact that you take them through a year kind of program, apprenticeship underneath you.
Yeah, and that's after they've been in the ICU. They've learned a lot. They went to their degree program to become a nurse practitioner, and then I train them like a residency. But most importantly, support them on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, because we're always learning new things in healthcare.
Yep. And again, Linda said she's going to check. She said she was told in her area that it wasn't, but definitely look into that. Okay, so how is coverage set up in tiers? Can it be good and affordable at the same time?
Tiers. Well, it's very affordable. There are many zero premium plans. So a lot of folks are still paying for a supplemental premium, $200-300 a month, $4,000 a year. Join a plan like Essence, zero premium, save that $3,000 right off the top.
There you go. Those are the tips you need to look for because, yes, insurance rates are astronomical. And then you have, this doesn't cover this. Now you need supplemental insurance. And we're talking about an age group that sometimes is on very limited income.
Yes. Well, very important.
Yes.
I have a couple. They're both in their 90s now. He was an attorney. She was employed in her days. but they're in their 90s, they're bankrupt. They ran out of money. They live longer than they thought they would. So saving this money is really important. I had a fellow 10 years after we founded Essence. He said to me, "Hey, Doc, it's 10-year anniversary of Essence." He was one of the early. "You've given me 2 new knees, 2 new hips, and a pacemaker, and saved me $25,000," because he was saving $10,000, 10 years, $2,500 times 10, $25,000 in that time. He was so grateful. So that's real money to these folks. And another way they save money is if I'm careful and precise about the evaluation and treatment, we won't spend as much money. If you go to a clinician that's not as careful, they'll just order tests like a shotgun. This test, that test, those tests. See this specialist, see the hand specialist who refer to the shoulder specialist who refer to the neck specialist when the problem is muscle tension, headache. They're not sleeping well. So if we're precise, we can save money by making a better diagnosis more quickly with less testing and less referral.
So someone said, "I am so glad I signed up for Essence, been on it since 2015. I'm glad that we're talking about this because I think there's a lot of people that didn't even know about Essence. They need to look into it, look into maybe switching your doctor. Now is the time. InnovareHealth.com is where you can go to get more information. There's a phone number on there. He also gives out his cell phone number. But I want you to be thinking about it right now. We're in November. You've got through December 7th to make that change, and you may as well. There's no reason for you to be going along and getting frustrated with the care that you have.
Monica, you mentioned it, but think about your parents or your grandparents. And often the older generations are sometimes too deferential, too respectful, too resistant to change, and so go with them and see if talk to them, ask them, see if they're getting good service, and if not, consider helping them change.
I mean, we talk in the past about bedside manner. How is the doctor treating you? But it really is true. You want someone who is obviously very well educated, is going to be able to take care of your parents or your grandparents. But it's also, how are you being treated? Are you being disrespected? You would see that if you went to these appointments with them. And that's something that you're going to be treated really well. You're going to be respected. Before, we've got a handful of minutes left. I do have a woman that reached out to me, Dr. Willey, and wanted you to talk about celiac disease. So I think this is new to them. I unfortunately know a lot about it because my brother was diagnosed about 30 years ago when no one knew what the heck it was. No one understood what gluten was. Now you walk up and down aisles and it's gluten-free this and gluten-free that. My brother always goes, "I don't get why someone thinks it's a fad to eat this way." He's like, "I wouldn't want to eat this way if I didn't have to, but I have to because it's a real disease." So talk a little bit about celiac.
Well, the first case I saw was actually 42 years ago.
Really?
And it was an unfortunate, and back then we mainly knew it if it was severe. This elderly gentleman literally starved to death.
Oh my gosh.
His gluten enteropathy was so severe, his intestines had lost their cilia, the mobility, lost the architecture that helps absorb, and he passed away. We didn't have a treatment for it when it was so far gone. But yes, now with new ways to diagnose it, the antibody testing, IgA and IgG, gliadin, endomycel, finding it early, screening for it. So active cases are about somewhere between 1 in 100 people in the population and 1 in 200.
And some are not completely celiac, but they might be gluten intolerant?
Well, there's as often is the case with conditions, there's mild and severe, and so there may be lots of mild cases that people don't really know about. May not be all that important, but could be giving them symptoms, and it can be sneaky because let's say it's a moderate disease and its symptoms are, the classic symptoms are diarrhea, gas. GI symptoms, right? But if it's present well enough and it's preventing absorption of important nutrients, things like anemia, iron deficiency anemia, low vitamin D, osteoporosis, etc., can happen from the condition as it marches on.
Do people dismiss it? Maybe sometimes they just think it mirrors something else.
It's
or they just they're taking Tums. They don't know what to do.
There's lots of causes of GI symptoms. Lots of causes. Almost everything. Every condition you read about every medication you read about will have GI possibilities. So yeah, it can definitely get ignored.
But if
or
they
missed.
have it bad, I mean, I'm just trying to think of what I've watched my brother go through for 3 decades now. It's severe, like doubling over pain, bloating, loss of weight. I'm just trying to run through the things that people need to be aware of, that maybe they need to go to the doctor and say, is this celiac?
Certainly if the symptoms are that bad, see a doctor and consider it.
And then it is a complete lifestyle change.
You know, it's wheat, barley mainly, but predominantly wheat. And if you're on the caveman diet, you won't have trouble with that, right?
Well, if you're there are some people, it just depends.
Starch, no carbohydrate.
Well, right.
But corn and
Yes.
rice and legumes are all fine. They don't have gluten in them.
I've watched him, though, go through, like, let's say they're going for the holidays. Here we are coming up against the holidays, and having to be so aware of if it's cross-contaminated, if there's something that even drops in. I mean, it's not just like, oh, you're a little gluten intolerant, and it's okay if you have
you're in a
this.
bad case.
Yes, exactly. To the point that they have found that if someone makes something and they swear it's gluten-free and it's not, and he starts to have the pain, he carries with him these digestive enzymes that he can take that help him. Do you know about those?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he can take that, and it makes it takes some of the symptoms away.
Yeah, he
makes
may.
it a little bit better. But yes, he's got it bad. So if anybody's in that same boat, it is a huge lifestyle change. He may what?
They have a pancreas problem as well.
Okay. So again, maybe look a little deeper. He's dealt with it for a while, but I've heard people just say, "Oh, they'll look at a menu and go, "I'd like the gluten-free crust for the pizza." I'm like, "Why?" Why do you think it's a fun thing for you to lose weight? No, it's what this is. Anyway, somebody just said my birthday's coming up. I got a birthday card from Essence. Yeah, see, they care about you. Anything else that we didn't talk about with regards to open enrollment that you just kind of want to recap?
Well, I'm absolutely dependent on Essence because again, it's the only plan. We talked about it, how different I am, how much time we take,
yes,
how much service we have. We have a social worker. We employ a social worker because sometimes people just don't have the wherewithal. We go to the home and figure it out. If somebody's not. So I'm absolutely dependent on Essence. It's some kind of wonderful. For me, it makes my professional life just glorious. I tell people if it weren't for Essence, I probably would have quit.
Really?
Yeah, it was so frustrating the other way.
That's powerful.
And
so that's a good combo right there.
Yeah, it's really great for folks.
Essence and then Innovare Health Advocates, putting them together so that you really have your care taken care of. So as we said, from right now until December 7th, it's open enrollment. So be thinking, I would tell you to reach out to them. I know a lot of you have said, gosh, I love this guy. I love the care that they provide. But now is the time for you to say, I would like for him to be my doctor. InnovareHealth.com. And again, you have locations on both the Missouri side and the Illinois side, 5 locations.
Yep.
And 11 hospitals that Dr. Willey is associated with. Thank you again. I know that we're going to talk about depression next week because we're going into the holidays. And that is a huge thing that's for everyone. We're also talking about the weather getting colder as we head into next weekend. We're talking about true things that are seasonal affective disorder. These are our real things that you see. So I think it's more of the mental health side that we can address next week. And then again, any other questions that might come in for us in the next week. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
It was great to see you.
Yep.
We're going to, here, you want to pick? I don't always have to pick. We haven't done overeating in a while. Maybe we should do overeating. Overeating, depression, that could be for next week.
Next week.
Fear and anxiety, anger or shame.
How about anger?
Oh, anger. Okay, let's do the anger one. Anger, 100 Days to Freedom from Anger, our daily devotional with Stephen Arterburn. That's how we'll wrap up the show when we return.
Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online envitahealthandwellness.com.
Welcome back. It's been a really powerful show from Jessica Cooke with Yuppy Puppy Pet Spa and Yuppy Puppies Forever Rescue to Dr. Charles Willey with Innovare Health Advocates, giving you some hope and possibilities every single day. And if you're new to the show, this is how I always wrap up. We have all of these books from Stephen Arterburn, and they've been really popular, very powerful as well. 100 Days to Freedom. And this one is from Anger. It's called Real Strength. This is my command. Be strong and be courageous. Don't be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. That's actually Joshua 1, verse 9. So are you angry? Think about yourself right now as you're listening to this show. Are you angry at yourself or someone else? Are you afraid? Discerning between these two feelings can sometimes be a little difficult. These emotions feed into one another. Fear arises when a threat is perceived, whether it's real or not, and then anger kicks into action in defense and protection. Anger and fear often blend seamlessly, and that can prove to be a challenge when attempting to resolve these feelings. Fear, of course, can be real or imagined, and some fears are legitimate concerns. For example, you might fear something happening to a loved one, which is a rational fear that most everyone experiences. If your loved one is threatened, or maybe your loved one is hurt, your anger would rise to that threat, right? Well, that's an example of healthy anger. You're having a reaction to the injustice or the threat. But if your anger overwhelms you, it can create a bigger problem than first perceived. The goal in addressing your anger isn't to numb it or to pretend to always be happy. Don't put on a mask, a facade. The goal is learning to control your anger. All emotions require some level of control, or we become governed by our feelings. Feelings and emotions are such a vital part of a healthy life. However, if one emotion starts to rule, it can cause difficulty in your relationships, your work, and your mental well-being. When we experience fear, we can call upon God for courage and strength. God's with us, and we remember this truth can help us navigate our lives. When our anger is aroused, we can ask God to help us use it for good. Our courage and strength do not come from being angry. They come from abiding with God. If one lets fear or hate or anger take possession of the mind, they become self-forged change. That's from Helen Douglas. Jill Herzig said, anger is the emotion we snatch up to avoid less comfortable feelings, confusion and fear and sadness. And Eleanor Roosevelt, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, quote, I have lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along, and you must do the thing that you think you cannot. Today's prayer, dear God, thank you for your presence in my life. Help me to be aware that nothing I face is bigger than you. Give me wisdom and discernment to fight the battles you have for me and to know which to leave behind. Amen to that. That's a good one. I love these. And one of these days, we're going to get Stephen Arterburn on our show. I've been following him for a little while now since we picked up those books at the Crossing. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. I hope you've got some direction. Again, if you're looking for a new doctor, that you know it's open enrollment and you can go to Innovare Health Advocates and make them the doctor for you to take care of you and take care of your loved ones. And again, thank you one more time to everyone who showed up on Saturday night. If you didn't get a chance to, you can donate to Yuppy Puppy Forever Rescue, Yuppy Puppies Forever Rescue, or maybe go by and see if you can bring a loved one into your family because they have 51 dogs that need to be adopted. To each and every one of you, thank you. I hope you have a fantastic Monday. We're just kicking off the week, and if you have some anger and anything that's been slowing you down, it's your choice to try to flip that around a little bit more, okay? Go out today, be anything you want to be in the world, but before you're anything, please be kind. God bless you all.